Hi and welcome everybody to episode 3 of the Call Room. I'm here with James Stannard, our head coach, as always. And please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. This is a home of all of our information moving forwards.
But this is the Christmas special episode. I don't think we're quite Christmas special.
You're right, it is the Christmas special episode.
Yeah.
Take 2. Hi everybody, welcome back. Episode 3 of the Call Room, again with James Stannard, our head coach, and clearly the Festive Edition. And James, I have to say you are totally rocking that Christmas jumper.
Yeah.
Big fan of Elf.
Massive fan of Elf, yes.
Yeah,
very pleased.
It's a great Christmas film for me.
I wasn't sure if I pulled it off, and I don't know if green is my colour, but I like the jumper.
Well, I think to be fair, we'll probably find out in the comments whether you pulled the jumper off. For me, you've absolutely 100%. It's a triumph. It's an absolute success. So listen, episode 3, the Festive Edition. As always, please like and subscribe. We're building subscribers on the channel. I think we're up like 40 or 50 subscribers over the last month. So thank you to everybody who subscribed. So a few topics to cover today. One, be really good, James, to talk about the snowstorm event, which we had a couple of weeks back. We've got Winter Nationals coming up. We've also got some swimmers going to Northampton to compete. Mm-hmm. Secondly, just talking about training, one of the things that you've spoken about and we've spoken about before is the importance of consistency in training. So it'd be great to spend some time talking about that. We've got the festive period coming up, and we talked last time about the schedule. There were some fun events that you were looking at doing, so it'd be great to hear a bit more on that. And last but not least, we've just put all of the entries in for counties for next year. So I'd love to share a bit more, get you to share a bit more around our county qualifiers this year and how that's looking. Sound good?
Fantastic.
All right, away we go. So let's start with the snowstorm event. So not last weekend, the weekend before. We had our winter kind of sprint event. So we did something similar last year, but if I remember right, it was on one day. This time it was across 2 days. We had lots of clubs there, lots of swimmers. Reflections on the event?
Yeah, fantastic. And we had 80 swimmers compete from Grantham, which is fantastic. We had several clubs that attended externally. The top club, I'll go through little awards that I remember. The top club was Louth, who we have.
So it was top visiting club.
Top visiting club was Louth. We have good relationships with them, and they swam really well. Top boy was a boy called Ryan from Boston who swam really well, and top girl was Lucy from Grantham who won top girl. So really pleased with all the Grantham swimmers. There's probably a notable performance from one of our coaches, Hannah, who she competed, did a few swims, and that was probably the biggest cheer. I think pretty much all the swimmers were on the end of the pool cheering her on. So that was a special moment. Another thing was we've got a master swimmer called Alicia who's just returned. Really pleased with her coming back to the club after leaving. I don't know, maybe before my time, pre-COVID. She stopped swimming. She just returned. She had a couple of swims and she set a new club record in 27.9 for 53 in the open age group. I thought that was fantastic to see someone returning to the club and the performance. So there's some real highlights, real positive event. As always, lots of people just getting stuck in, running the event, volunteering. So fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was good. I was fortunate to be on the desk, and myself and JJ, we were doing the live stream, and I was on the microphone for some of the sessions. Becky Davison stepped in, did a fabulous job on the microphone in session 4. But lots of volunteers stepping up and supporting, and we know it's a really significant contributor to the club's finances as well. Events like these, so it was great to see so many swimmers there. Yeah. So one thing I'd just like to remind everybody, we just touched on the live stream there. So one of the reasons we do that is so that parents, grandparents, friends, family, carers, whoever it may be, who can't attend the events can kind of hopefully come into the live stream and watch people swim, watch the kids swim. But the other reason we do it is it's a really efficient way of capturing the races so that our swimmers can go back afterwards and watch their own events and kind of look at how they did their turns, how they were doing their underwater, so they can bring that back into training. So one of the big asks for me with regards to the live stream is, if any swimmers that were competing, please take the opportunity to go back and watch your races back, because you'll learn so much more from doing that and watching yourself swim than just simply speaking to us as coaches. So make sure you do that. One of the other things that we talked about with the event was the importance of nutrition. And we talked about nutrition last time around training, but nutrition at events, particularly when you're swimming 4 sessions across 2 days, nutrition is just an important thing at an event as well.
Yeah, so it's knowing what sort of snacks to have, appropriate snacks. We spoke about drinking, obviously packing enough things, and we've got so many new starters, and a big role for us as coaching team, as committee, is to make sure that we're not just giving information, but we're giving information often. And the type of food and snacks that we have on poolside is important, because we want energy to be available for the period of the event. And certain snacks, there might be an increase in energy, but then there can also be a drop off because it's not the appropriate snack. So at the weekend there was some interesting things in packed lunches. So there's a piece of work where we need to work to share some more information about what to have in your packed lunch, what to have for drinks, what's good snacks that you can have that you can nibble on through the competition. Sometimes we go to events and someone will have there's some sandwiches and some kids are tucking into them at 9 o'clock. So that's not necessarily needed unless they've not eaten breakfast, but some education to the swimmers of what to have and duration, but also maybe to the families that, you know, they might have packed as they would for a school trip, let's say, but maybe for the performance in swimming, it's not necessarily always appropriate. And we're going to go to events, and we'll talk about some events later on in this this video where, you know, there's not always going to be great facilities at the events that we go to. So it's really important that we kind of plan ahead of time, that we have some good stuff in our bags, and that's so critical, just to, especially over a long day, because they can be 6-7 hours on poolside.
And listen, all of this stuff, it's not things, these aren't things that people just automatically know. So it's important that kind of, you know, yourself as head coach, we as coaches and parents who've been around a little bit of time as well, make sure we share this information, because otherwise, you know, you don't know these things. No. So we'll make sure to get some information out then in terms of good snacks.
And it's just basic things. It's fruit and veg, or carrot sticks maybe. But it's just trying to make fairly simple things. But yeah, I thought it was a good thing to mention.
Yeah, things to avoid.
Yeah, so in some lunch boxes there was probably Mars bars, and there were crisps. So crisps are ones where they're quite fatty, and so it's looking for healthy alternatives that are going to help me to swim. And or even sweets. Sweets are probably okay, but again, we get a bit of a spike of energy, and then we have a drop off where you feel a little bit lethargic, and we want to try to maintain. Maybe we do an event and we might have a serene bar or a cereal bar after the event, just to help us to re-energize after the event. But then we want something, maybe apple or a banana or whatever it might be, just to maintain a nice energy level through, alongside with drinking. So it's not rocket science. It shouldn't take a lot of investment. It's basic things, but Mars bars and Snickers bars, you know, even though they used to be called Marathon,
I believe so, back in the day.
you know, they're not necessarily the go-to thing.
Yeah, they'll give a spike of sugar, which ultimately is not going to give the benefit.
No.
Okay. We've also got, between now and Christmas, we've got a couple of events coming up. So we've got Winter Nationals coming up for a few of our swimmers in the coming days. And as we head into this weekend, we've got some swimmers going over to the first long course kind of event of the season over at Northampton.
Yeah. So we've got Joshua and Grace McDonald going to Winter Nationals racing this weekend, which is fantastic, from Thursday through to Sunday. And then we've got, I think, 10 or 11 swimmers racing long course. Last year we didn't do a long course. We didn't do this event last year, but we've added it this year so that those swimmers can race long course, because we're just finishing probably a short course period of time, and when I say that, I mean that a lot of our races is in a 25-metre pool. When we go into the new year, a lot of the championships, bar the county championships in Lincolnshire, is short course, but when we go after that, a lot of the events that we're going to do are long course, and it's like cricket and tennis. They're completely different. And I think and this is probably another episode for us as parents and swimmers, understanding not to compare the two.
Yeah.
But the rationale for this weekend is just to go and race and experience how it feels again to race long course.
Okay, welcome back from the Amazon break that we just had there at the front door. Shifting gears, we just talked about the events that we've got coming up, but let's go back to training. And one of the things that you've spoken about and we've spoken about before is the importance of consistency in the training. So last time we talked about getting the most out of the session when you're in it, but the consistency of the training, the number of times that you're training during the course of the week is absolutely critical.
Yeah, so each squad has set number of hours for the week, be it if someone's in Marlins, they do twice a week, through to national squad, they do 8 times a week. And the hours is a recommendation from the national governing body based on how many hours someone at that stage of their development should be doing. And I think it's really easy to feel that you're being consistent, but maybe have an afternoon off to be at a party, maybe the next week maybe be poorly, and all of a sudden the average over a period of time can just drop down. And we can go, and I mentioned to you like a Twilight Zone. So there's a Twilight Zone where it's thought of where you're in a period of time where you're training at such a level that it's not necessarily enough to really have massive gains, but it's probably still too much where you feel fresh, you still feel tired, you still feel like you're training, but you're not quite where you need to be to see progression. And this period of time, because there's so much going on, it's easy to, and we've had lots of people that have been ill, and which is really common this time of year. So a lot of it can't be helped, and it goes back a little bit to what we spoke about before about just trying to be a little bit better on looking after yourself. But that consistency of training is so important, because now we're going to go into the new year. We've got some events this weekend, but we'll go into the new year and we feel like we are being consistent with sessions. And we'll go into an event and maybe have a bit of a negative experience where we're expecting a result and maybe it's not there. And it's probably because we think that we're training 5 times a week, but in essence, we probably average 3 or 4 times a week. And that could be a big difference. So a big message today is just try our best to be as consistent as we can.
Yeah. I kind of exercise with Peloton, and we've talked about it before. And one of the instructors on there is a guy called Matt Wilpers, and he talks about consistency, duration, and intensity. But he talks about it specifically in that order: the duration, the how long you work out for, and the intensity, how hard you're working out for. They are second and third to consistency, doing something consistently over time. And it is difficult this time of year, but it's kind of wherever possible to try and take advantage of the time that we have, because I guess what we do now, for those that go to counties, we're going to see that come the end of January into February.
So it's a big period. Like when we shoot this video, we've got a couple of weeks until Christmas. So it's a period where, and we'll mention about the timetable. We're pretty much continuing through about a couple of days off, and there's going to be some different things where it's not necessarily serious training per se, but we're still trying to maintain momentum and trying to accumulate what you just said about duration and intensity, trying to accumulate gains so that when we go through, hopefully we have a positive experience. And it's not just the physical outcome, it's time at task, working on technique, working on skills. And the sessions for each of the squads, they have different aims and objectives. So sometimes we might miss one, and you may be missed where maybe breaststroke's something you need to work on, and you've missed that whole opportunity to improve. And what we do is swimming. It's tough, not to put any other sport down, but my son does football. He trains on a Wednesday and he plays on a Saturday. Whereas what we do, some of our guys are doing 15 hours a week swimming training. So what we do is tough. But if we want to try to be the best we can be, then the sport is a pyramid, and there's a reason it's a pyramid, because not everyone can be consistent. So I think that today is just a message that the people that are at the top of the pyramid, they're not necessarily the most talented. They're just people that are consistent, have a good attitude, and keep showing up.
Yeah. Well, that kind of takes us in talking about the festive period. So we're recording this. We're about 10 days out from Christmas. And I know on the last podcast we talked about the festive schedule and some events that you had planned. So maybe just first of all, paint a bit of a picture of what training looks like between now, well, over Christmas and New Year, and then we can talk a little bit about the events that you had planned.
Yeah, so I guess we have a couple of cycles that it's different for all the different squads, but this week is coming into an event. So now over the next few weeks, we go where we're just reinforcing good technique, reinforcing good skills. We're starting to develop what we talk about aerobic swimming, where it's touching on what we've just said, where we're consistent. We're just working on spending time at task for a period of time, reinforcing good technique, trying to get some physical gains to help us to get a platform into the new year, into 2024, with activities. And we spoke about this last time, where we've got on the 22nd of December, which is the Friday, we're going to do a little event, which is Santa versus Snowmen. I think I've got 80 swimmers that are attending that day. So I'll probably just push tomorrow as like a last call for anyone that's around, and then we'll close that, and then I'll put those swimmers into 2 teams, and they'll go through like a team event where it's individual events, some relays, maybe some fun events. And we'll do that on the 22nd, and we'll maybe see if we can do a bit of a club fun thing at the end of that. And then the next thing was the distance challenge on the Saturday the 30th. So information will go out regarding that, where there'll be probably a little fee to take part, because we'll try to raise some money to go towards a charity. And the charity is one which cardiac risk in the young, which is called CRY. And there's a young girl that I used to coach that sadly passed away 10 years ago this year. And she passed away because she had an enlarged heart. So we're looking I'd like to do something where we raise some money, raise some awareness for that charity, and something special.
A great cause, a great idea. Well, and then we go through Christmas and New Year. So when does training kind of start back proper?
So I think we start back on Tuesday the 2nd, where from then it's back to normal. So the timetable will be normal until the 22nd, 21st, and then we'll come back on the 2nd of January 2024, and then off we go.
And when we come back, then the next big thing that's really coming up is the county championships. And we know, and we're really excited about this, we've got lots of new county qualifiers this year as well, so people swimmers that have qualified for the first time. So for people that don't know, the Lincolnshire County Championships, they're spread over, I think, 3 weekends, but spread over 2 venues. So we host a portion of it at the Mears in Grantham, and the other portion is over at Louth. But I know you were looking at the statistics kind of this morning around the number of qualifiers that we've got and how that's tracked over the last few years.
Yeah, so I joined the club in 2020, and when we came out, the first county competition would have been 2021 then. So we had 45 swimmers that qualified to compete then. Last year we had 51 swimmers or 50 swimmers, and then this year we've got 61. So this year, really pleased that we've had an increase in the number of qualifiers. So that shows just progression. Really pleased. We've got qualifiers from the Masters squad. We've mentioned a few of the swimmers there. We got several new people to the club that have got county time. So it's really good that we've got representation for pretty much most of the squads.
That's fantastic. And 60 odd swimmers is a great number to be taking to the championships. And we, as I said before, it's spread across Grantham and with Louth as well. And for a number of other swimmers, going to Louth, it may be the first time as well. But I know over the years, I think our swimmers have really enjoyed competing over there. You mentioned earlier we've got a great relationship with Louth as a swimming club. But actually going over there, spending the weekend over there, I know a lot of people tend to stay as well. It's a good event when we get over to Louth as well.
Yeah, no, it's we're fortunate we got the 2 pools in the county, and at Louth, I think that one is where we're going to maybe have some relays. There might be some relays at Grantham, but there will also be some relays at Louth. So there might be people that would maybe travelling just to kind of take part in a relay. So really appreciate that people may support that and go across. But we'll be busy poolside because we'll have quite a few people.
Yeah, be great. Well, look, that's kind of us for today. Thank you again, as always, James, for your time. I do believe that jumper is an absolute triumph. Not many people could pull it off, but in my opinion, you did. But the comments will tell us for sure. So thank you, everybody, for watching episode 3 of the Call Room. As always, please do let us know if there's any specific topics you'd like us to cover. The whole idea of this is to help share information that's going to be valuable to anybody that's watching. But in the meantime, on behalf of myself and James, wishing everybody in the club and anybody else who's watching a very, very Merry Christmas, and here's to a fabulous 2024.
Merry Christmas. Thank you very much.